to share with you today is called iNaturalist. It's available for the iPhone and also for Android, and it also has a website associated with it. We will go first to the website, iNaturalist.org, and I'm already signed in, so it comes to my home page. But if you want to sign in, you just need to make an account, either here, or you can make an account using your Google sign-in or your Facebook or Twitter. You can use any of those logins as well. But the key to this really is your phone. So you do need to download the app onto your phone, because with this app, students will be able to take photographs of organisms that they see out and about, hiking in their backyard, on a trip. And if they're able to identify them, they can take a photo, add the identification. It will automatically add a geotag to it and then upload it to this website. If they don't know what it is, they can still take a picture of it and post it, and someone else will be able to then identify it. So let me show you some of the things that are available on this website once you start adding observations. So the first thing to look at are observations. You can search any observations. You can search by species or anything, or you can search your own observations to check in to see if anything has been identified for you. I recently made a trip to Costa Rica and was using this app, and it was so much fun to put things in that we didn't know what they were and then wait for an identification. So here are some of my observations that we had when we were gone. And you can see some of my observations have come back with IDs already. Here's a picture of an iguana. It turns out it was a juvenile. Kids thought it was just a lizard, but actually it's a baby black spiny-tailed iguana. And this is the person, Herp Guy, who added that ID. And once it gets 2 identifications, then it's able to be upgraded to research level. If you look here, because it has 2 credible identifications, it's classified as research level. So if someone wants to add this to their project, they can, and they can be confident that it's a good ID and that the location is correct, the date's correct, and so forth. Let's take a look at some of my observations that we don't have an ID for. So here is a picture of some fungus growing on a tree. I know nothing about identifying fungi, so I took a lot of pictures of fungus, and I'm hoping that they get IDs. So still waiting. This was submitted on the 16th of June, so it's been about a week, and we don't have an identification yet. So it can just sit there and wait until someone notices what it is. If you happen to have expertise in a field and you know what this is, then you can pop in and give an identification to help bring it up to research grade. The other thing you can take a look at is different species or locations. One of the things I think is fun is to look at observations on a map. And here's the world. So to date, there have been over 4 million, nearly 5 million observations, and you can see how they're plotted across the world here. I think it's interesting to note that there are some areas of the world that have a ton of observation. If you look at the United States, we're pretty much covered. Most of South America is totally covered. You can see the very, it's coming up on, let's get rid of that. If you look in this middle of Central or South America, you can see there's some areas that people aren't getting to. So that's interesting. Also in Africa, and you could ask kids, why do you think that area is so blank there in the upper middle portion of the continent of Africa? And hopefully they can figure out the very big desert that's there and why people might not be going there, or maybe there aren't that many animals or plants living there. You can see that there have been over 114,000 species that have been identified, and the number of observations for each one. So for the monarch butterfly, you can see there have been over 10,000 observations. So you can click on that, and then you can see distribution around the world where people are seeing monarch butterflies. You can also look things up by identifiers or observers. So there's about 21,000 very active identifiers on iNaturalist and 116 observers. So when your students sign up for this, they become part of that group of observers. And it's invaluable to not only other classes or just the casual observer, but also to scientists, because they don't have to be in the field all over the world to know that their species of interest exists. When people are traveling and they are taking pictures and getting IDs, they can make note of that. And so you can follow species and migrations and maybe even find some species that have happened into an area that they aren't normally seen. So that would be very interesting to a scientist. The other thing that's fun to look at are projects, and you can become part of a project. If you click on projects here, you can see I don't have any projects going on, but if I just click on projects, all right, so they have a number of projects. They can be, you can set up your own project. Say you have a group that likes to go out hiking every Saturday and you want to keep track of what you're seeing in your area every weekend. So you can set up a project that your friends contribute to, or it can be a project that you set up with your students, or it may be a university, a school, or a scientist who's working on something. So let's just take a look at one of these featured projects. Let's see, City Nature Challenge 2017. Let's see what that involves. Oh, so this is located in Texas, and you can see there are a great number of observations in these three areas. And we can look to see what kind of observations this guy's been making. Species. Miles. So the thing that I would like to use this in my classroom is to give the students projects to explore different things, to come up with their own projects. One of the things I think would be interesting would be to have students investigate their local area, either around school or around their home, and see what's local around there, so that you can put in a place. Let's see, let's find a place. Let's try Malibu. All right, we have a couple things listed in Malibu. Oh, it looks like an insect and a flower. So they can see sort of the biodiversity that is located in an area, and then compare different areas. You know, compare their local area to maybe an area that they travel to in the summertime, and see if biodiversity differs based on where they live, especially if they live in a very urban area. You can get really detailed and look at areas. You know, if you looked at a park in an urban area, you would find that there are a lot more observations there than you would find in the more crowded city area. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for students to explore this, and also to take some of the learning outside of the classroom and actually get the kids outside. So have fun exploring iNaturalist. We had a blast using it in Costa Rica. I did do a search to see if I could find a couple of our observations. A couple of them were ID'd and have made it to research level. So anyway, have fun with iNaturalist.